everybody, I'm here, I have beer. This time some Thirsty Ferret, good stuff. I also, apparently, have cat. So, what am I going to talk about this time? Well, this is a vlog where I get to discuss the various things that I've been doing and seeing and eating. Where to start? Well, first things first, today was my official birthday. I'm working tomorrow, which is my actual birthday on the 6th. So I thought I'd have a birthday today and enjoy it, rather than spend it at work being bored, I suppose. So I've been out and I've had a lovely meal, and it's been a really, really nice day. Yes, Seth's in bed, my son, so everything is all set for me to talk and make mouth noises at you. So then, what's new? Well, first things first, I've been digging out all my old painting stuff. Basically, just before Seth was born, I jacked in all my paintings. I figured I wouldn't have any time for it, and I was right. But now things have settled down a bit, so I thought, get all my paints out, see where I'm up to. I was kind of in the middle of painting Dreadfleet, the Games Workshop game, the boxed game from a few years back, which is quite fun because each of the ships is unique, so you can kind of jump between them and bit and bob around as you please. It suits my style of painting, which can be summed up by slow. I take months to paint, I take years to paint. I get distracted, distracted. Things like Talbot here. And so I found out that I've got a bunch of Dreadfleet ships in various states of sort of kind of done. Dug out my Dystopia Wars ships. I never really got started with that game. I've got some Russian ships I was painting, and they're actually a lot further along than I thought they were. They're actually quite nicely done. The thing is, I had a technique for painting them, and I can't remember the exact colours I used, which is a real pain in the backside. Yeah, so that might get difficult. So the other thing with Dystopia Wars is we're now on version 2, and they seem to have done a good job with it. They seem to be reorganising the factions to make them a bit more sort of unique. Before they had sort of special weapons per faction, but now they really seem to have gone all out on them. The French have the heat lances, the Prussians have the Tesla weaponry. It seems a lot more separated out, a lot more sort of unique for each type of ship and each side. I think that's really cool, and I really want to get back into it. But there's me and war games, you see. There's me and war games. It's not that we don't get on. It's not that we're not friends, but I never get started in war games. I'll buy some stuff, and I'll get a little bit painted, and then eventually I'll just be like, oh, I've got this great big mountain of unpainted miniatures. It'll never get done. And then I sell it all on eBay, and then the whole process starts again. It's pretty bad. Dystopian Wars is the closest I've come. And like I say, the new starter set does look pretty damn good value for money, and it's kind of a campaign in a box. It's not just you get two armies to fight against each other. You actually get to play through a story and teach yourself the game, and that's really cool. It gives you a good grounding of not just blow each other up, but a bit of a reason why, and that's nice. There's a ghost ship in it as well, which that's pretty cool. So yeah, miniatures wargaming. I mean, I would get into something that was, pre-coloured, not pre-painted, but pre-coloured, like Super Dungeon Explorer, Rivet Wars, where they have plastic colours to the different factions, so you don't have to worry about it. But, it's all expensive, isn't it? It's really expensive stuff. I mean, the closest, I guess, is X-Wing, because in X-Wing it's all really good pre-paints, and I managed to get Imperial Aces for my birthday. Really happy with this. Yeah, I get to play the Imperials for a bit and fly around blowing people up with horrible, sneaky little attacks. Yeah, X-Wing, enjoying it. Not perhaps so bothered by the third faction, the scum and villainy. Seems like a nice idea that you can use your existing ships and all, but I'm just not sure I care enough, if you see what I mean. So, yeah, I'm kind of getting back onto X-Wing after a bit of a hiatus after the last tournament. I got a bit burned out, but I think I'm going to come back for that. What else is new? Glass Road. Oh god, sometimes I get obsessed with the game. For me, it's Glass Road. I really like Glass Road. I've played 1, 2, 3, and 4-player games. I've played the solo game, and I'm really enjoying that. And oh dear, I won't say too much. I'm going to review it. I really, really like it. Finding negatives, that is possible. Don't worry, it's going to be my usual reviews where rather than just going, oh my god, I really love this game, I'll try and find something useful to say. So GenCon happened. GenCon was a bit funny for me because I watched it all from the sidelines on the internet. You know, you've got Fantasy Flight going, look, Star Wars Armada, which initially made me go, oh, brilliant, it's a naval combat game in space with great big warships. And then I kind of sobered up and went, yeah, but the whole system looks a bit gimmicky and fiddly. It looks like kind of the negative aspects of Fantasy Flight, you know, where everything's a bit over-engineered and there's a whole bunch of dials and bits and stuff. I'm a little skeptical now. I wasn't initially, but the price also, I can't afford it. I just flat out cannot afford it. It's off my radar. Imperial Assault, I do like the look of. More Star Wars, but you know, it looks good. I'm not the biggest fan of Descent, Second Ed Descent. I find it feels a bit mechanical and procedural, and it seems to play out roughly the same way each time. Imperial Assault, I can't help but like the idea of just marauding through a bunch of stormtroopers with a Wookiee and, you know, that kind of thing. It's in there, you know, it's looking good, but it's Fantasy Flight, and with Fantasy Flight you expect expansion after expansion. I like the look of it. There's a Scout Walker and Force Powers and crap. It's going to be a laugh, I think. But it seemed a little bit staid. I mean, there's a lot of noise about some games that are coming out. You know, Panamax is getting a lot of coverage, and a whole bunch of other stuff, you know, got coverage. And sort of flipping Steve Jackson Games announced yet more kind of Munchkin titles and stuff, and it's, you know, if you didn't see Munchkin Steampunk coming, then you're stupid. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's getting a bit boring, huh? I don't know. Nothing exactly wowed me this year. Nothing made me go, holy crap, I must. XCOM is getting a bit of press, of course. This whole game with an app thing, you know, we'll see how it pans out, but I think that's where Fantasy Flight's probably going to head in future. I mean, they've made apps before for dice rolling and stuff, but I get the feeling that they're probably going to push down that line further from this point. The one thing that kind of bugged me with GenCon was there was kind of a lot of sort of fanboy fangirlism, you know, the whole sort of fandom thing where, like, you've got the designers who, to me, are the people who are like, you know, they're the people you should be giving the adulation. And then you've got, like, the people like me, the sort of second-hand people, who do the content, you know, videos and blogs and reviews and run-throughs and all that kind of thing. And, you know, as in my opinion, we are the sort of, generally, we are the gaming media. And that's good, but it doesn't make us special. And I found it a bit weird that people were kind of being all hero worship about the kind of gaming media people a bit. Whereas they're just ordinary people, you know. I'm not one for celebrities. I'm not one for hero worship at all. Not really. And I just found it a bit odd that, you know, we play board games. The designers make them. We play them. You appreciate the designers, the designs, the artwork. You appreciate different publishing companies for taking a flyer on games that may never have got made. And, you know, companies for their miniatures and their sculpts or whatever. But I find it just a bit weird for people to be being all about, like, reviewers and things like that. I mean, on the other hand, there was this whole thing recently about, you know, refusing to acknowledge that online media matters when it comes to board games. Jesus, man. You kidding me? How much print media about board games is there sensibly versus online media? Really? I mean, yes, there are war games magazines and stuff, and you know, I'm sure there are board games magazines out there and all, but most of the coverage, to me, is online. You shouldn't ignore it. You can't ignore it. that's just silly. Kickstarters keep going. Latest ones to cross the radar for me are Mantic Games Mars Attacks. Looks like it's going to be a bit of a blast. That's turning up soon. Dwarf King's Quest is in the works, which looks a lot like Warhammer Quest. And Dwarf King's whole Dead Rising has tempted me, because I just love the idea of these dwarves going around with hammers just smashing skeletons to bits. That's pretty neat. So, yeah, it looks like it could be good. But again, with Mantic, I don't know. It just doesn't have that spark. It doesn't have that thing about its world that makes me go, yes. Certain worlds, certain game worlds, Dystopian Wars does it, War Machine does it, and, just certain things, they just get into your head and go, push the button so that you go, yeah, that looks cool. Mantic, I feel really bad, because it's like they make really good games, by all accounts, but their worlds, they just still don't get me. Mars Attacks is different, because that's not really their IP, it's like a public domain, really. And Mars Attacks is Mars Attacks. Excuse me. What to go on to next? Derby on Board Games, the game group in Derby that I don't organise, but I have stuff to do with, have a new venue. We've got a trial at Book Cafe in Derby on Corn Market. Just on the main street, basically, for 3 months. So if we do well, that's where we live. Fantastic. Really pleased about that. Nice to see things finally coming back. Yeah, the whole gaming group thing's been going all right, really, in terms of our groups on a Monday night and on a Thursday, every third Thursday at the Furnace. We're still booked up for the rest of the year on those. I need to actually publicise that a little bit more. Beer and Pretzels Part 2 is coming up in Burton towards the end of the year, because now I'm working at Spirit Games. I'm actually going to be kicking my other job in the head, and I'll be working there 3 days a week, and yeah, I'm going to be working in a games shop as my main job. That's pretty great. I was saying on Twitter how much I love, like, I can't really afford games at the moment, but I love being able to sell people on games that I love. Only if they're interested, of course. I mean, you don't sell people a game because you like it and expect them to. If you think they will, it's so nice when you can match a game to a person, is what I'm saying. It's just cool, It's just really nice that you go, in your head, they like, oh, I want a game like, and you think, that one, and you know it's the right choice. And then they come back and like, oh, I played it and I love it. It's just the best thing. So, yeah. My employment is improving. So I get to kick my stupid job in the head. Wondering what else there is to say, really. I've kind of taken a bit of time off from videos for a little while, although Glass Road will get a review, because I've been sort of trying to write blogs about gaming generally. Before Gamergate, the whole stupid thing where people are basically going, leave video games alone. Sad, really. Resisting progress, basically. I wrote a thing about sort of sexism and board games, because it is something to be aware of, really. I find, like some of the stuff that's cropped up with the Zombicide miniatures, it's like, guys, just stop it. I mean, when you get in sort of artwork that's kind of sexualizing zombies, there's something kind of wrong there. It's, it seems so unthinkingly done, and it sucks. So, yeah, I've written an article about that, and I wrote an article about miniatures and how I find it concerning that a lot of Kickstarters are succeeding off the back of the miniatures and not the game, and then when the game shows up, it's full of holes. And this doesn't always happen. I mentioned Mantic earlier. They're not a company who have been releasing games where the game comes second. Got to give them respect for that. Whereas some games, it's like, hey, look at these great miniatures they get with the Kickstarter. There's probably a game there somewhere, but let's not worry about actually finishing it. It's okay, I guess. There's a game somewhere. So I wrote a bit about that. The next thing I'm going to be writing is probably going to be about game systems. So I'm kind of getting sick about how everything's becoming a system. Like, you buy a core box, and then you buy the rest. I mean, it makes sense with miniatures games and with games, well, you know, collectible card games or games like X-Wing. There's no kind of pretense, you know. You do have to buy more to get the full game, but you can buy as much or as little as you want. It's the ones where you feel like with Myth, for example. Myth looks like an all-in-one game, but it isn't. They've sold you most of a game. And it's stuff like that, you know, when you're buying into a game system. You feel like, well, how much money do I want to put into it? You know, I'd prefer just to buy a game and have a game. But it's these ones where it feels like you're buying into the start of something. Like the first 2 episodes of a TV series or something like that. It's kind of becoming the norm, and I don't like it, because I can only support like maybe 2 game systems properly. It's annoying, man. Anyway, I don't want to end this on a sour note, so I'm going to hold this into shot. Yeah, Glass Road. Yeah. Anyway, it's still my birthday, I'm talking nonsense, I've got a beer, and you probably haven't. Oh well, I'll see you next time when I do whatever I do. Hopefully a review. Keep on looking at Website of Doom. Oh crap, I nearly forgot. We're doing a podcast. There's going to be a podcast. Watch out for a podcast from some of the folks at UK Gaming Media Network. Hopefully, again, discussing the wider world of gaming. Yes, podcast. For now, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, morning, evening, or whatever it is, wherever you are. And I'm going to do the same. So, bye for now.